Hello and welcome back to Good Vibes News. Francis and I have lots to discuss today. First of all, Francis, thank you for joining me again. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. I love talking with you.
Thank you, Kelly. Likewise, the feeling is mutual. We always have lots of great things to talk about on the show, off the show. Things are always moving.
They are. We maybe should have recorded the last hour because we had a really good, deep conversation. But we're going to try to recap some of that and actually talk about that before we get into the topic of the show tonight, which is about herbs that are probably in your own kitchen that you can use to help to aid you. We'll say it that way, so that we don't get flagged for, certain words. Yeah, help you out, make you healthier. But anyway,
Understanding nature's gift.
That's right. Nature's cabinet. Yeah. So first, we wanted to address things that are going on in the world and how we all have this beautiful technology to where we can literally see in real time something that's playing out in a different state, a different country, all the way across the world. Wherever we are, we can actually see things playing out in real time. And we always want to vilify technology and look at it from the negative perspective. But the thing is, we are who can flip that perspective and turn it into something positive. So we actually have some suggestions and some comparisons to give to people to maybe just make you think a little bit more about who you really are and what you really can do as just one person. Because if we're all thinking this way as just one person, we really can change the world, and we really can change outcomes, such as natural disasters. Currently in Colorado are the wildfires. And, there are people who stand around and look at this play out on the news, and they just think, oh my goodness, poor people, right? Or whatever it is they're thinking, but they're not thinking. What they're not thinking is that they can do something to change it. They can do something to help. When we focus our intent and we put emotion behind it, we can make things happen. We were just having a beautiful conversation about the power of prayer and why and how it works, and the power of manifestation and truly creating things and how and why it works. And it's because we put our intention and our emotion together in that. So the next time you see the Colorado fires on the news, I want you to stop and focus on seeing those fires being put out and that flame dampened and those houses being saved and those people's lives being saved from even just losing their home, because that is life-changing, right? It's absolutely devastating and life-changing to lose your home. I know this personally. I've experienced a house fire. You lose everything. You lose a part of your soul when you lose a part of your memories. So the next time you see this on the TV, see that going away. See that being resolved in a peaceful, calm manner to where there is no harm to people. There is no harm to the animals or the trees for that matter. Because, I don't know how many people really respect the trees, but I have a very deep love and appreciation for trees, because if they weren't here, we wouldn't be either. And people tend to forget that. We have a symbiotic relationship with them. We breathe out what they need, and they breathe out what we need. So we need to care about how many trees are caught on fire and being destroyed and cut down or whatever. That needs to matter. And I was just discussing with Francis about Japan, and when the tsunami was happening from Fukushima, and how people were just standing around watching this on the TV like it was a movie or something. And if we could all know our true power, and we could all just take a minute to see that standing wave falling back or crashing down before it gets to shore, we could save lives. Like, we could really save lives, people. And for you to have that kind of power, that's not something you should discount and not appreciate. That's something you should really respect and be proud of and take seriously, and stand up and do your part as one of the whole, the part of the one, right? Your little piece of the one. Do your part. And I know Francis is dying to chime in, so I'm going to zip it for a second and breathe and let you talk.
That part of one is so important because it is a part of one that is a part of all the other ones that make it, you know, the full one. We do vilify technology. I'm certainly guilty of that. But I also recognize the advantages of technology, and that's the piece that we seem to be straying away from, right? People pause to capture things on video so that they can be the first one to upload.
Right.
And they're forgetting the humanness of intervening in a situation. It's all about just making that pause. You know, it's not, you know, support. It's not about, let's say, writing a check or making a donation. It's about your mindfulness and being present at that moment. And yes, it is devastating to see something like that occur, and you could feel a sense of shock. However, if you're mindful and you're present, your first thought should be about some sort of solution, some sort of safety, some sort of assistance, or just some sort of healing. The fires that are going on in Colorado, that's really devastating because we are all connected to the earth. For some people, they may think, oh, it's just a bunch of trees. We're not even talking about the human lives or the animals or the homes, but those trees are living beings on this earth, and we are connected to the earth. In addition to those trees, there are other living creatures that live in those trees, that rely on those trees for their habitat, rely on those trees for their food. As these things get chipped away, those beings, those creatures also get affected. So they have to either go out, relocate, which then changes the balance. And the balance keeps on changing and changing and changing. So, you know, even if people don't necessarily understand the love that some others have for trees, you need to understand that it is all connected.
Right.
It is all connected. All of it.
Very well said.
So being, you know, being present, being mindful, you've got that cell phone, you know, how about you actually call someone so that you can hear their voice and they can hear yours? You know, a text message that says, hey, just checking in on you. You're going to get an equally sterile reply that everything's great. Because we're not, you know, very good at being vulnerable or letting our guard down. Yet when there's that voice and that energy on the other end of the phone, you can pick up if something is wrong.
Yeah, we're totally missing that human component in this new age of technology that we're in. And rather than allowing it to disconnect us, we need to really enhance its ability to connect. because that's why it was created.
Mhm.
I mean, the whole reason the internet was created and cell phones and stuff is so that we could connect with people across the world in real time. I mean, never before in
Yeah.
history would you and I have ever been able to meet. You know, we wouldn't have our dear friend Monica that lives across the pond in England. We wouldn't know these lovely
Yeah.
people.
Very true.
So we should be using
It's very true. Our world.
technology for a benefit, not to allow it to make us further divided.
Our world was so much smaller, yet we thought it was big because we had airplanes, we had cruise ships, and then the Concorde retired, you know. But then came the internet, you know, and even then it was dial-up, but it still allowed us to connect. And in bit by bit, you could be in Hong Kong, talking to your family in Switzerland, showing them something live and getting their opinion. I mean, how marvelous is that? How fabulous is that?
Mhm.
Now just think about all the different types of spaces that we could use this technology for. You know, there's something that's gone on somewhere. A group of people could be together and use the technology to focus on that area to raise the vibrations for all that are in need.
Right. Or to calm a storm, or to bring rain
Or
to
to
an
calm
area
a
that's
storm.
been stricken by drought. You know, I mean,
That's
the
right.
power of our mind is so beautiful and so incredibly intense. And if we really just use even like our own God-given technology, right? Because we are walking, living, breathing technology. We really do create. People think that that's such a
Mhm.
woo-woo thing to say that you can manifest reality, but you can't. You really can't. I know I've tested it through the scientific
Well,
principles. It's very, very real. And there are groups out there in the world that collectively focus on these areas to help calm those storms and bring those droughts, the rain that they need, or whatever it is. And if just more people, everyday people, would just become aware of the beautiful genius, incredible ability and power that they have, then they'll realize that it's not, I'm just one person, but I'm just one person that's consciously going to do something different.
and I am one person that is part of a multitude of many other one persons. And that's when things really start to happen. And
Yeah,
that's the beauty of it all,
it really
you
is.
know.
It really is. Like we were talking about the power of prayer and
Mhm.
how it works sometimes and it doesn't work other times. Well, you know, if everybody in a collective is praying for someone and their heart isn't in it, then you didn't put the emotion with the intent. So you're not going to manifest a good outcome. The only thing you're going to do is bring more attention to that person's situation, which could be negative. So if you can't put your heart into prayer, don't pray, please. You know, for all of our sakes, don't pray. Like, and I mean that in the most loving way. I really do. And then on the flip side of that,
Manifestation is focus,
right. So then on the flip side of that,
right?
sometimes prayer is very powerful and does work. And it's because all of those people, or at least the majority, their heart was in it, right? They really emotionally cared about the outcome of whatever the situation is that they're focusing on and praying for. And so, you know,
The harmony.
Yeah.
The
Right.
harmony was there.
Right. So I want people to be empowered. I want them to empower themselves and just take the time to focus on the Colorado fires or whatever. You know, maybe there's something bad happening within your own town that you could focus on and put your attention to in a loving way. And just see if it makes a difference, right? And it might not always make a difference, because if you're the only one doing it, maybe it wasn't enough energy to override the energy that was happening there. But you can't not try. You can't not try, because you don't know how many others might be trying or not. You still have to try.
And one thing I will say is that regardless of the outcome, you will feel better as a human knowing that you tried to do something
Right.
selfless
Right.
and positive.
Right. Exactly. It's a win-win. You know, you're going to do something that makes you feel good about yourself, and you're going to do something that is going to help others. And even if it doesn't make the big impact that you're wanting, it impacted them in some way on a positive level. You can guarantee that every time.
And each time you do something like that, it strengthens you. You know, you receive a reciprocal strength.
Right. Yeah.
You receive that jolt from the earth that thanks you and replenishes you.
Yes. Absolutely. So again, a win-win. I mean, I don't understand why no one would want to try, honestly. But we won't get into that part.
That's another conversation.
We're not going there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just really wanted to kind of address that before we go into what tonight's show is about. Do you have anything else you want to say about that before we move on?
I would just, you know, I would just like to remind people that when we go to bed at whatever time and we close our eyes and we wake up the next day, it's a gift. There are many out there that don't receive that gift. If there is something that you're thankful about for the day that you've had, give thanks, but also take a moment to send some words of love and some words of comfort, either in your own mind or out aloud, to any part of the world, any part of the earth that you feel compelled to, or to a situation that you're aware of, to help uplift. It's very, you know, it's not anything long scripted. I mean, something just as simple as, I hope that tonight, as I'm able to go to bed in my own home, I hope that there will be many who will find a place to lay their head. You know,
Yeah.
because it will meet the right people.
Yes. That's beautiful. I just love your soul. I just have to say that. I just love your soul. Okay, so moving on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to talk about everyday herbs and spices that are in your kitchen or maybe in your bathroom. Who knows where they are? But they're helpful in many different ways. Frances has a list, and I'm going to let her go first with some of her stuff. And then I'm going to do a share screen and show some of the things that I have on the blog on our website. And if anybody wants the ones that I'll be sharing on the screen share, they're on the blog on the website, which that link will be below. And yours are in the forum, right? Your list isn't it?
Yes, they're in the forum.
Yeah, it's in the forum on the website, right? So everything will be on the website for everybody to go back and reference That way you don't have to hurry and get a pen and pencil or pen and paper or whatever. If you're trying to write things down, you can just listen and enjoy the conversation. Get it later.
Yeah. And folks can always send you an email, email the website if they're interested in additional information.
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Or hop on the forum and ask.
So, I mean,
even.
Yeah, or go up on the forum and ask. We love interactive dialogue.
Yes. Yes, we do. So what you got for us?
Some of the things. So like you said, you can find some of these things in your kitchen, your bathroom. Some of them you might be able to find in your bedroom after you're done cooking with them. But one thing about nature is nature really gives us so many things. It gives us everything that we need. We just don't always have the knowledge and the ability to understand how to utilize. Nature does not waste. A bark of a tree could be used for something, whilst the pulp is used for something else, and the leaf is used for something else, and the flower is used for something else. And that's one of...
Do an example there. Cherry bark. Do you know?
Say that again. I couldn't hear you. You go on.
The cherry bark. The bark of the cherry tree. Do you know what that's used for?
No, I am not familiar with the bark of the cherry tree unless it's got a different name.
It's actually the active ingredient in cough medicine. All cough medicine. Yeah. So, a little bark, put it in some water, boil it, make your own little tea with it.
Boil it. Yes.
Grandma's remedy.
Itchy and congestion.
Yes, ma'am.
Interesting.
Yes, ma'am.
Interesting. I like that. We'll have to add that. We'll have to add that one up, because this is the time that, I'm sure many people will be looking for different sorts of cold, weather-related remedies.
Yes. Actually, another really good one that I have about 10 bottles of on hand that I've already made. Mullein. The weed.
Mullet.
Mullein.
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 Okay.
It's considered a weed, right? People spray it because it grows natural in our yards in Indiana. It grows everywhere. It's a furry, fuzzy plant, and it makes yellow flowers. It's a fantastic plant. But I make an extract of mullein that's for lung congestion. Perfect for lung congestion. And simple, so simple to make. So simple. So if anybody's interested in that, I think the information's already on the website for that too, come to think of it. Because that's one of the extract tinctures that I make a lot of for the winter. I hand it out to people as gifts.
I mean, that's wonderful. And I think that what people are going to really enjoy is that there are no complicated procedures in which to
so easy.
Utilize, any of these things. We're not asking you to go buy a laboratory set. You're not going to need a Bunsen burner and a beaker and a mask, and it's straightforward, simple, just like you were cooking in your kitchen. But you're cooking with nature. You're healing in different ways with nature. You're supplementing with nature. And you're, halting with nature, and you're bringing in with nature. So one of the first ones that I wanted to talk about is the bay leaf, the herb, the bay leaf. Many of us are familiar with it. It's a very pungent, strong flavor. It's very aromatic. It's got an intense aromatic tone as well. And a lot of times, you know, people will drop a couple of sprigs of bay leaf when they're cooking a soup or a stew or something, but nobody ever really eats the bay leaf, and I don't understand why. But
Yeah.
so when I talk about these, I want the audience to know that I'm talking about the herbs in their organic form. So not the bioengineered versions, because once something is bioengineered, it brings in other properties. So talking about
Changes
the
their
leaf
chemical
that comes
compounds.
straight.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. One of the things that I love about bay leaf is that it can actually, the leaf itself could actually be burned in your home, just like you would burn incense. It's been alleged to reduce stress and increase negative energy in the home.
You
I mean,
decrease?
increase positive and
Okay, I was gonna say,
energy.
wait.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I also have a friend that when he's studying, before he studies, he chews a bay leaf, and he said it helps him stay focused and maintain his attention. And I do believe in some cultures, bay leaves were used, they were considered sacred for purification and used prior to meditation. Another thing that I like to do with bay leaf, so when I use herbs to make tea, I actually like to boil the water first and then infuse the herb in the already boiled water. So I, you know, I have a lot of like mesh strainers, like different sizes, so that they, you know, they sit in and the properties of the herb actually sink into the water. I've got a variety of different techniques that I use, but it's based on what I'm using the herb or the spice for. And so I just, you know, make bay leaf tea, some water. When it's boiled, put it in the cup, put a little strainer, put some sprigs of bay leaf in there. Let it sit for about 3 to 5 minutes, just like you would if you had a tea bag. And there you go, you're off and running. Your first sip will make you feel really grounded. It's very, very earthy. It might make you feel, you might feel a sense of calm. So some people actually drink bay leaf tea before they go to rest for the night, so that they can have a restful night.
Interesting.
So
I just
yeah,
looked,
it's
I just looked in my herb book because it dawned on me as you were talking, I've never even looked up bay leaf in my herbal books. And I looked it up. Oh, it's actually very good for headaches too. And I didn't know that. I had no clue. That's very interesting.
Now,
I
bay
love
leaf.
this newfound bay leaf information.
So bay leaf also has spiritual uses. So as you know, as you can burn it as an incense to, let's say, banish negativity out of an environment, you can actually use it to send your messages to the universe. So you can use it as part of your manifestation tools. One of the most popularized ways of using bay leaf is when folks are doing, let's say, money manifestation, prosperity manifestations, and I don't know, we'll just take a quick example. You need to get something done and it's going to cost $20, let's say. People actually will write the amount.
Oh, wow.
And they will burn the bay leaf.
Just write it right on the bay leaf.
Yep, write it on the bay leaf. and then they will burn the bay leaf in the tool that they're using. So if they're using a candle, they will burn the bay leaf in the flame of the candle to send the message out to the universe as well.
Wow.
And
I
who
love that.
would have thought that this was bay leaf?
Right? Yeah,
Mhm.
because anything I've ever known about bay leaf was it, you know, it may be really good to put in your soup or your stew, but pick it out and throw it away and don't let anybody eat it or have anything to do with it other than that, like it was toxic or something, you know.
Mhm. Yes.
And so I never really even
So,
thought to research bay. I love this. I
yeah.
love learning new things.
Bay leaf is it's a wonderful herb, like they all are, you know.
Yeah.
They're all wonderful and beautiful and in their own way, and they give us so much more than what we are aware of.
Really
And
do.
the bay leaf comes from the laurel tree,
Yes.
you know, so
Yes. And I love
which
the
is
laurel trees.
another,
Yeah.
yes.
There's like a beautiful connection to those trees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that right there is bay leaf. There's another one that I want to talk about. Now, this is a plant, and everybody knows this plant, garlic.
Garlic, my favorite thing in
I,
the world, maybe.
I love garlic.
I do too.
I love garlic. And I'm sure that many are already aware of, the spiritual uses of garlic in terms of, banishing vampires and evil entities and
Right.
things, things of that nature. But garlic is also extremely healthy. Garlic can act as an antibiotic when
Anti
taken
everything,
in
actually.
it's an exactly. It is an anti
Fungal.
everything.
Yeah. Fungal, viral, bacterial, microbial.
Yep.
I can't think of all
Yep.
of them, but all of them. Yeah.
There is, yes, there is actually an old folk rhyme that I wrote down that's associated with garlic, because garlic comes from the onion family. So
Yeah.
they say, eat onions in March and garlic in May. Then the rest of the year, your doctor can play.
Uh-huh. I love it.
Because garlic is going to take care of whatever. Again,
Yeah.
garlic you can brew as a tea, you
Right.
can roast, you can eat raw, you
Yep.
can crush
Yep.
and use. Of course, when you are using fresh ingredients, when you crush, you're now releasing. So to say that you're going to save half of your already crushed garlic for another time isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Nature gives us what we need for that moment in time. That's why we never take more than what we need, because we can always go back.
That's right.
You
And I just want to add a little
know?
extra tidbit there, because even the little beautiful flowers that the garlic makes, right? You know how it blooms on its top of its little green stem, similar to onions,
Mhm.
where it goes to seed.
Yes.
My mother calls it a front yard salad, but she will pick the garlic flowers and the dandelion flowers and the dandelion leaves and things like that and make a salad from it and eat it
Yummy.
every day during the summer. That's her favorite thing to do, is get a front yard salad,
And see
she's
who would have thought,
she's healthy as can be, she's really
See?
pretty healthy for 88.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. As you were saying that, I was just thinking about some, the front house salad, and throw in some cubed sweet potatoes or yams and some fennel.
Yes.
See, I'm getting hungry.
Right. Yeah.
I'm getting hungry.
So yeah, garlic.
So Yeah, garlic is the everything,
And also, if
you
you
know.
eat garlic in the summertime, it really is very good for keeping the ticks and the mosquitoes and things like that, the fleas, from biting you, because they really don't like that smell that's coming out of your pores. So it really is good for
That's
keeping the
right.
bloodsuckers away. Like, that's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
I guess
It is
vampires
a real
do,
thing.
right?
And do you know that in some cultures, eating garlic is purported to help with spiritual growth?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So in some cultures, they say that eating garlic helps to open up the mind, which helps you with your spiritual growth.
Well, maybe that's why we're so enlightened, because we love garlic,
It could be. It
right?
could be.
Maybe we need to be giving
Um,
some props to the garlic for that.
so
So
nature again.
do you by chance have a list of things that garlic is good for health-wise?
Yes, I mean garlic, like we said, it is good for everything. It can, because it contains sulfur. It's low calorie, it's rich in vitamin C, vitamin B6, and manganese, which is something that we don't see often. And what that does is it boosts the immune system
Right.
as well. And as a result, it also helps to reduce blood pressure.
That's right.
So those who suffer from high blood pressure could benefit from maybe, drinking garlic tea.
Right.
Um,
Or eating.
as we know, there are many eating garlic, because we know there are many supplements out
Yeah.
for related to garlic.
Yeah.
But I really like getting all my stuff from the actual
Whole food.
plant or herb. Yeah, from the
Yeah.
food. It's
Live
nature's.
food.
Yeah.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Though I
Yeah.
am guilty of
Yeah.
taking my
And
turmeric supplement every day that's in a pill capsule, but it's organic.
that's that's perfectly all right. We'll get to turmeric.
Yeah.
Turmeric is the second to last one. Yes.
Yeah. But
Turmeric is also, for who are not familiar with turmeric, it can be very difficult to work with, because you're not going to wear white when you're working with turmeric.
I do. I even have
you
white.
do.
I even have white cooking aprons. True story.
Oh wow. Yeah. Turmeric does, people think
It
curry
will stay.
stains, nothing like a
Yeah.
yes, there is nothing like a turmeric stain.
Yeah. But vinegar,
You know.
but vinegar is very good for getting stains out of just about everything. And what vinegar won't get out, peroxide will. So
Oh.
I have 7 kids, so I know how to get some stains out. Let me tell you what.
So I will have to come
So
to you when I have my mishaps and it's gone down my favorite, whatever I'm wearing for the
I can get it
day.
out.
I'll have to come to you.
Yeah, I'll get it out.
Kelly, help. I was mixing a concoction and I've got this orange, greeny, yellowy thing on my white shirt.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. All right.
Yeah.
So
Before
yes,
we move on, I want to touch on some more things that garlic is specifically very good for.
Yes, please.
Angina, asthma, bronchitis, cold sores, cuts and scrapes. People don't realize you can use garlic right on an open
Put it right on.
scrape or cut, and it will keep it from getting infected. It's very good for genital warts, for who needs to know that. It's really great for fungal skin infections because it's antifungal. It's really great for hay fever, heart disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, intestinal parasites. People don't like, a lot of people, they think about these cleanses that they want to do, and they think they got to spend a lot of money to do those cleanses in case they have parasites from the food they've been eating. When really, if you just eat garlic, they're never ever going to be in there anyway, right? Because if there was something parasitic in your food, the garlic is just going to kill it and send it right out with your, waste.
It will help with good
trash.
gut health.
Yeah, out with the trash. It's also very good for Lyme disease, sinus infections, stroke, and Raynaud's phenomenon, which is where your hands and your feet don't get the proper circulation and they turn blue, or they hurt really bad. Extreme cold or extreme heat, they would hurt. But garlic is very good at, it's like a blood tonic. It's cleaning everything out of your blood, cleansing it. So it's also circulating it very well. And that's why it's good for all these heart conditions and, not getting proper circulation and things like that, because it's moving your blood. It's cleaning those sticky platelets that cause the cholesterol and different things and moving them out of your blood so that your blood flows naturally. And then everything's, warm and cozy like it should be. So I just
like you said,
because garlic really is like a superpower to me.
Yeah. Like you said, it's antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungal.
Yeah. Parasitic,
it's just
viral.
Yes,
all of it. All of it. It's an amazing.
And garlic tastes yummy.
And it makes food so much better. So just put it on all that stuff. The only thing it should not be in is gravy, breakfast gravy. Don't put no garlic in your breakfast gravy. I had an ex-husband that did that once that made me mad as the dickens. It ruined breakfast gravy. It's terrible.
Breakfast gravy.
Don't put it in your milk gravy for breakfast.
So would you say that it should be utilized as an after midday?
Oh no, I love it on my hash browns for breakfast.
Okay.
I love
Okay,
it on, I love it on all kinds of things. Just don't put it in the damn gravy.
Okay, just not in the breakfast gravy. All right.
Yeah.
Noted. Noted.
Sorry, I'm done with my rant. We can move on.
That is all right. Another one of nature's antibiotics is an ancient one that's been around since the dawn of time, and I love it. Honey.
Yes.
We're talking about organic honey.
Yes.
There are so many things that can be done with honey. Aside from being, a go-to natural sweetener for many people, honey was medicine.
Yes.
And it still is medicine in so many ways. There are cultures where newborn babies are giving a dab of honey so that their lives will be sweet. I'm not talking about, a teaspoon or a tablespoon, but there are cultures where those rites occur. It's all tied into the opening of the road for the soul for this newborn. Additionally, you've got a cut, you've got a scrape, you've got a burn, you've got a wound. You can put honey on it. Yes. Honey has that antibacterial property in it. That's why when you have a sore throat, squirt some honey down there and it will ease it. It will ease it, and it works well with other properties because, for example, if you, let's say, make a garlic tea and you add the honey for the sweetness, you're killing two birds with one stone. They balance and they do the work internally to help support you to have a healthier body, to help support you to get back to like your optimum health. Another thing that I love about honey is that, you know, your DIY at home, quick 5-minute face mask, you know,
Oh, yeah.
why go get the fancy stuff?
It's so good on your
You
skin.
know? Oh, it's so good on your skin. You
Mm.
know, squirt some honey, and you know, you got some, well, we're gonna get to turmeric, but since we talked about it, put some turmeric powder in there to, you know, to enhance the glow. And if you have some glycerin or something like a natural slight mineral oil, just to make it a little thinner, pasty, there you go. Plaster
Yes,
it on your face, let your face shine, let that inner beauty shine.
right.
Leave it on for 10 minutes.
Yes,
And then
and for
what?
those younger girls who have the acne problems, if you put a little bit of cinnamon, like a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon into like
Yes,
a half a
yes,
cup worth of honey, mix that up and put that on your face and use it as a cleanser, because the cinnamon is a good healer as well. And it will clear up that acne.
that's
Yeah, it'll and it exfoliates
yes,
gently too. I love cinnamon.
that's right.
That's one of them I'm going to
That's
bring
right.
later.
Yes. Yes, that's right. And you know, if you want like more of a scrub feel, you can add some oats to it, you
Or
know,
brown
uncooked
sugar.
oats, you know, crush them. You can add some, you know, you can add some
Brown
brown
sugar,
sugar if
right?
you have
Yeah.
that, or
And
whatever you have, you know, chia seeds, anything that will give you
apricot,
the, you know, that will give you the grit.
the shell of an
Huh?
apricot, the shell of the apricot,
Yes, yes,
you grind that up
yep.
and use it
Apricot is also,
for a facial scrub. Yeah. Mhm.
yes, yes, yes. So again, you know, honey, just
Honey's great.
old ancient. I love honey.
I do
I
too.
love honey. I have to always make sure that there is honey at home. And when I say honey at home, I don't mean one bottle.
Yeah, I don't
I
have
mean,
just one bottle either.
yes,
Um, actually,
yeah.
I've been hooked on this. Have you ever heard of ambrosia honey? Ambrosia.
Ambrosia,
It is like the,
yes, but I've never had it.
oh, it's such a delicate, sweet flavor. It's like my favorite honey to use in tea now. Absolutely. It's
Mm.
like you're eating a flower. It's so beautiful.
Oh,
I love its flavor. So I'm like
oh, wow,
hooked on
wow.
ambrosia honey. And it just sounds fancy.
I wonder what ambrosia honey would taste like in some lavender tea.
Oh, it would be amazing because I've had it. Yeah.
Mm.
I love it in my lavender, my chamomile. Dandelion tea is like my favorite tea to have. And dandelions are actually very, very, very healthy for people as well. Very good for you.
Nice,
And so I
nice.
love to drink
I'll have to,
dandelion tea.
I'll have to write this. I have to write this down because I need to investigate or hunt. I need to hunt down ambrosia honey.
Well,
Because you
girl, I
know.
bought mine at Walmart, so it shouldn't be too hard to find.
Okay, okay, yes,
You
I
know?
will have to just like, yeah, I'll
Yeah,
have to, you know, look that up, you know. But honey is great. And,
it
you
is.
know, I mean, sometimes, you know, people say, oh, have a warm glass of milk before, you know, before you go to bed. Well, after you're, you know, 14, you sort of outgrow the warm glass of milk, but
Mhm.
half a teaspoon or a spoonful of honey will aid you in a restful night.
Oh, that's good to
So
know too.
that's, yeah, so that's another way that honey's being used as well. So,
Wonderful.
yeah, these are some another one. It's a fruit,
Yum.
not a dead car, a fruit. It's a lemon.
Oh, I love
That
lemon.
citrus fruit that many people waste. Many people waste the lemon fruit. It's a whole fruit given to us.
Yes.
It's got a lot of life. It's rich in vitamin C and fiber. The weather's cold. Can't drink any more tea. Can't drink any more caffeine. Just boil some hot water. Slice a lemon. and put the lemon slices in there and sip on it. You're doing your body a world of good. It's great for dehydration. The fiber in there is the right type of fiber that the body needs to balance the inner gut health. So as a result, it aids in your weight loss goals as well.
That's right.
You know, I don't know if it's going to give you the hourglass figure or the whatever figure that you're looking for, but it does aid in weight loss goals as well. Lemon can also be used as an astringent.
Yes.
If you have acne, you can add some lemon to the honey remedy.
Yes.
If you have dark patches, and rub on. So it can help that way.
Just
and then
don't
if
get
it's
it in your
too
eyes.
warm, huh?
Just don't get it in your eyes.
Oh no, don't get it in your eyes. No, don't get
Yeah.
it in your eyes. Getting things in your eyes can be painful.
Yeah.
And if it's too hot out, you can actually just reverse it. Just cold water, lemon slices, and sip away.
Yeah. It also
Yeah.
aids in digestion. That was another thing. My mother would always have a glass of lemon water with her meal.
Yes.
She's been faithful in that. And she's always remained very slender and healthy, and she attributes it to those portions and those live foods, those whole foods that she would take into her body,
Yeah. And please don't peel the skin off the lemon.
Yeah, no. And that zest is actually very healthy for you and really delicious in a lot of foods. I love to use lemon zest on fish and different things. And orange zest. I love orange zest too.
So you get the zest and you can put it in some olive oil and some black pepper, and you've just created a whole new flavor note.
Yes.
For your oil. So you don't have to go out and buy, lemon oil, this kind of oil, that kind of oil.
Right. Right.
So,
you can infuse your own. Yeah. You don't have to spend money to have these beautiful, fancy different choices that you see on the cooking shows on TV and stuff. I mean, you can make those right there in your own kitchen, very inexpensively and easy. And it's fun. It's rewarding to do things like that too. Yeah,
it is. And something else that lemon is good for that I found out about is that it's a good nail strengthener. Who would have thought? So for those of us that enjoy our manicures, yes, when you're giving your nails a manicure break, you get some olive oil and you squeeze some lemon juice and you just soak your nails in there.
I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like, oh, that's really interesting.
It seems like, isn't lemon also good for like the fungus on the nails and things?
Yes. It's a nail strengthener. It does stuff with your cuticles as well. And it will help because it has that antibacterial / astringent properties.
Right. Okay.
Within it. So
yeah. Beautiful. Something as simple as a lemon.
Something as simple as a lemon. Oh, what do people know about red onions?
They're good to eat.
The big ones that people, I love red onions.
I do too.
I love them. I love them. I love them in all different stages. I love them sliced on a salad. I love them cooked. I love them in chunks. I love red onions.
Yes.
Red onions are actually really, really powerful. Obviously they're from the onion family. I called it actually a powerhouse for antibacterial and anti-inflammatory issues.
There you go.
Because it has so many components to it. But in addition to that, do you know that you could slice a red onion and leave the halves in room and it will clear the space?
Yes.
It will clear the bacteria out the space.
Yes.
So
My
many,
daughter,
yeah,
my oldest daughter
okay.
had her teacher made them do an experiment at school during flu season one year, where they all brought an onion in from home. They sliced it in half, left it set in these two little petri dishes overnight. When they came back the next day, the onions were completely covered in this nasty looking black mold looking stuff, where it had absolutely absorbed every bit of germs from the air. I was like, that's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of people, as part of spiritual practice and also part of, conscience practice, do leave slices of red onions around, which I think it's absolutely wonderful. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Also,
I do too.
the skin, the piece of film that is closest to the actual flesh of the onion, that can be peeled out and applied to the face. You peel off all those little things and stick them on the face. And because it's an anti-inflammatory, it will get rid of all that puffiness.
I love it.
Oh, yes.
I love it.
I can see many people running to the store. I can see there's going to be a shortage of red onions.
Right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Also in the old days, see, my grandfather was Native American, and so he raised all of his children, including my mother, by those old ways. And when they had sick children, not only would they make a poultice, which was like a medicine bag you wear around your neck, or just some cheesecloth with crushed onion in it and probably a little bit of garlic. I'm not even sure what all they would put in it. But the simpler method would be to just set the half an onion beside their bed, on the table by their bed, if they were sick at night, because they believed that by morning the onion would take the sickness away from them. Yeah.
So when you have somebody that's ill, especially with, let's say, things like a cough and stuff, that it's going out into the environment, you can stick an onion near the bedside or even by the door to the room of the person to help ensure that the bacteria is out.
I just, like, something just hit me upside the head with, we could all literally have such a simple fix to right.
What many people are using.
Like, that's, I mean, you know what I mean? Like how they're so worried about, you got to wear your face diaper because you're going to spread germs, which is stupid anyway, because the face diaper ain't working. It's not really working. That's a false sense of security. But if we had a freaking half an onion sitting in every corner of every room of every business of everything, right? Then poof.
It's what these are practices that many cultures are already using.
I might have to get on a soapbox and try to make some of that happen.
Oh, well. So the next one is our well-known one. And I thought it was really interesting. Sage, the herb sage. Oh. It actually comes from the Latin word salvare, and that means to save.
To save.
Look at all the saving that sage has done. You know, sage saves the soul.
Yeah.
We see it in the incense form. We see it in the spray form. But I wanted to let people know that it's something very, very basic. You know, you're feeling a little down. You don't have a car. You can't run to the store. You don't have money. You can't buy some incense. You got some sage in your closet. Burn some sage in a frying pan.
Yeah.
Let the aroma go up. If you've got the sage leaves, burn it like you would a bay leaf. you know, just don't burn your fingers.
Right.
Just
You can even
light it on fire.
those little incense burners. You can even put
Mm-hmm.
ground up sage in your incense burners, you know, with the wax, and
Yep.
let it
But
melt right into the wax and burn with the wax. Yeah.
there you go. If you have candles, you just have plain candles without aroma.
Right.
You could,
Sprinkle them in the
you
top.
know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So sage is something that I really, really like. It has deep spiritual roots, but there's also like many properties that with sage that it helps. Like when I was looking it up, it helps with your whole digestive everything. So when we think about energy, if the area of the digestive system is blocked, then we can't really get anywhere. I was thinking about that. No wonder it's called to save.
Right.
Salvare.
Yeah.
Because you need to be unblocked in order to be able to move, in order to be able to flow. Because if you're blocked, it leads to all these other problems.
Right. And
You know,
the Italians, they use sage in pretty much like everything, right? Like literally everything almost. Even some desserts.
Sage and bay leaf.
If I'm not misspoken on this, I think they even put sage in some of their dessert.
It wouldn't surprise me.
And you know, they don't have digestive problems, and they eat pasta, which we all relate to being, you know, a heavy food that's hard to digest, right? And perhaps for us who don't eat very much of it, it may be hard to digest, but they eat the sage daily with their pastas, and that's why their digestive system works so nicely. Yeah.
And also, it's another use is that it removes bacteria from the ear.
Really?
So if you have sage, you know, if you've got a sage plant, that's lovely.
See, I'm just learning all kinds of reasons why my children have always been so healthy.
Yes. There you go. Good for repelling insects.
It wasn't just the teaspoon of honey.
No, it was a combination of multitude of things.
Yeah.
It's also good for repelling insects.
It is.
You know?
It is. Yes. Yeah. Set a sage candle outside in your picnic area, and the mosquitoes and everything stay away. And because I don't like citronella, even in the plant form, I just don't. It's a very offensive smell to me. I don't like having citronella
It's
plants.
intrusive.
It's really intrusive. Yeah. So I do other things other than citronella.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally grew the plants, and I planted the plants all around my deck one year, you know, to keep the mosquitoes away, because the mosquitoes can get really bad here in Indiana. And I couldn't stand to be on my deck. I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
It was
Citronella scent is it's an I beg your pardon type of a scent. It's definitely got an interesting note to it. It's got an interesting olfactory note to it, but it's not my go-to.
Yeah.
It's not my go-to.
True meaning of pungent.
Yes. In a very angry manner.
Yes. Yes, very in your face kind of way. But yeah, back to the sage. The sage is much more nice to us.
Yeah, and it will, you know, sage helps to relieve anxiety, relieve stress. So as a result, it helps to improve your mood.
Yeah.
I mean, nature gives us these gifts that can be used in a multitude of different ways.
Right.
I love sage, you know.
Yeah.
I love sage.
I mean, how beautiful would it be if people would turn to sage for their anxiety issues rather than alternatives?
Well, there is a big one that I'm going to talk about. there is one that actually works better. They said it was tested than the current one that's on the market. I'll have to look it up, because if I say it, I want to be able to actually quote it. But it works better for the with depression than what is currently on the market.
Was it
There
valerian
is an
root?
herb. No,
No, because valerian is the active ingredient in Valium to calm people.
it's another one. It's the one that we're going to get to last.
Okay.
It's interesting because that was a shock to me. I was like, it does. I didn't know that. And
All right.
now it makes sense why it's being what I now feel is overly commercialized. So the next one that I wanted to talk about was nature's first and natural cleanser, sea salt.
Sea salt.
And
Love it. Love it.
sea salt, yes. And so sea salt is another staple. There are many different kinds of sea salt. Sea salt is actually made from the crystals of water from the sea. You can have pink sea salt, you can have white sea salt, and I don't know if many people are familiar with black sea salt. So black sea salt keeps things away.
Yep.
So that's
I actually have
used
all
by
three.
so that's used by practitioners. Sea salt, I don't know, I have a very strong connection to it. I enjoy taking a bath with sea salt just as part of my routine. I also enjoy making my own scrubs using sea salt, and it's nothing fancy. It's literally, you know, some sea salt that I've patted down, I've dampened with some water in whatever essential oil I'm feeling for that moment, and just using it. And it just, I don't know, just it's cleansing and grounding.
Right.
And it just, you have no choice but to help you relax, to relax.
And to put it
know,
on your skin
and
that way, isn't that also moisturizing? Doesn't it put the moisture?
Yes,
Yeah.
It's moisturizing your skin because it's exfoliating the skin as well. And you know, you can find like different textures of sea salt. You can find like the really coarse, larger chunks, and you know, the much more fine chunks. To me, it doesn't matter which ones I use, as long as it's the sea salt for the purpose for which I intend to use it.
Right.
Sea salt is also
wait just a minute. I wanted to also interject there with your sea salt in your bath, that breathing that steamy salt water is actually good for your breath as well, right? Your breathing, respiratory.
Yes. Yes. It's good. It's good for the respiratory system.
Right.
I know. It's again, it's connecting you, and it's healing you, and it's like it's drawing the negative ions that we, you know, that attach themselves to us out of our bodies. In many different cultures and spiritual ways of life, sea salt is actually sprinkled in corners of each home.
Right.
In some cultures, sea salt is placed on the ancestor altar, and in other cultures, they don't place sea salt on the ancestors' altars because it's believed that sea salt is used as a repellent against unwanted spirits.
Right.
I say that They are your ancestors. So you go with what is in tune and in alignment for you, because there is no one size fits all. If
Right.
you have an ancestral altar and you all of a sudden place sea salt on it and you feel that the vibration of the environment changes and it's not for the better, then that could be a sign that sea salt is not something that your ancestors want. And if you have an ancestors altar and you use the sea salt and there are no issues, then keep it. There is no one size fits all.
Yeah.
It's your individual journey.
And as well, if you live in a house that you deem to be haunted and you want to ward off the unwanted guests, like in the old days, they would put the salt across the thresholds of the doors and in the window seals, right?
That's right.
Yeah. To
keep
like
away,
block it out. You sage the area,
keep away bad neighbors
with a door or a window open, and then once you're done with that, you put the salt down to seal your perimeter. Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. And it's like, you know, like the black salt, like now if you really want to get into the spiritual aspect of the black salt, it's a very powerful salt that's used to repel negativity. So think about if you have bothersome neighbors, sprinkling that black salt around your perimeter. You never want the black salt in the house because it's said to hold really, really strong energy. So you wouldn't want things to be lopsided. Also in your workspace, you know, being discreet if you want to, and sprinkling some black salt around if there's a lot of negativity in the workplace, as more and more people work in buildings that are very sterile, that don't have the natural light, don't have plants, so it really changes people's personalities. Putting some sea salt around your cubicle area, and as we know, sea salt's all the rage because you have your salt lamps, many different kinds. You plug in night lamps that are salt lamps, you plug in fancy lamps, your tea light candle.
They make light bulbs now that are Himalayan salt light bulbs to put in your lamps and stuff. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So I always say to folks that when you're purchasing something that's like a light thing that uses sea salt, so whether it's the candle holder or the lamp, remember that it is salt, so it will crumble, and that's okay. So you might want to put like a little dish or something underneath so that it catches the crumbles.
Right.
I wouldn't put it on top of your vintage armoire and then get upset.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because it is going to get moist too. Because actually, one of the very good reasons to have the pink salt rocks in your home is because it balances out the moisture in the air. If it's too humid in the air, it will draw that moisture into the rock. If there isn't enough humidity in the air, it will actually sweat and release that moisture that you need into the air. And a lot of people don't realize that, but that's really the true benefit of having a salt rock lamp. You know, I have several sitting around my house of those as well.
Me too. Another thing that you could do is you could make sea salt spray. Very simple, nothing fancy, no need to go get, tools. I'm sure, somewhere we have some glass bottles of something that we no longer use. I always save all my glass bottles, especially the dark colored ones, because the dark prevents the light from hitting it. And sometimes properties change because the light hits it. So, the dark colors like the cobalt blue, the amber, So I always save mine. I save my droppers, you know, when things are finished, I, you know, clean them real good. I like to shake them up. I like to soak them. I like to pull everything apart. I like to let them, you know, get a really good cleaning and a natural, and a good, what do you call it, natural air dry. Sometimes just for, depending on what I'm going to reuse the dropper for, I might use like apple cider vinegar as part of my cleaning solution, or I might use Florida water as part of my cleaning solution. It just really depends. But you know, some sea salt, a sea salt spray, I mean, that's something that you could put in your purse and just, you know, refresh yourself with, or refresh your aura with, you know, a couple of
or the space around you.
granules.
If you're in a bad space, just it's your salt water spray around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of the granules in the bottle, and you know, shake them up. And if you really want to get creative, you could throw a sage leaf in there as well.
Exactly.
And see,
and as a cleaning product, so like a spray for a cleaning product, I like to use water with a little vinegar and sea salt in that, and that's what I use to clean like my counters. If I cut poultry or anything on my counters, I clean it with the vinegar water spray that's got sea salt in it. I don't use chemicals in my home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because you just reminded me, like, salt was a major commodity, you know, back in the Egyptian era, in the Babylonian era. Remember, there was a time when we didn't have, you know, refrigerators and things of that nature. Salt and honey were used to preserve things. They were used to ferment things. They were used to extend the life of food.
Right.
So, and just so that everyone is clear, if the salt has iodine in it, then that is not the salt that you want. It's not table salt. It really should say sea salt. And, you know, unfortunately, with the pollution of the environment, it's getting more and more difficult to find things that are zero contaminated. But do your due diligence and do your research, because as long as the intent is there, all will be well. However, you can't use table salt and convert that and say that it's sea salt. Holds different properties.
Right. Well, now you can use the table salt to seal your perimeter, though, for the negative energies and stuff. But yeah, not for the other things that we're talking about.
Not for the others.
Yeah. Right.
And here is a spriggy plant that I love. It's got it's a love-like relationship that I have with it. Sometimes it's like, oh, you're so calming. You make me feel connected to nature. And other times it's, oh, can't you give me a minute already? Time. Time. I love time. You know, time is referred to as an herb, but for me, time is an essence.
Yeah.
It's an essence. Again, another antibacterial, another antifungal, used a lot in spiritual work for healing purposes, helps with a good night's sleep. But it was also used to increase the libido, you know, to create.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes. It was used as perfume because it has attraction properties. It
like
increases
the pheromone.
lust.
Maybe it activates pheromones or something.
Yeah. So that was something that I was not aware of when I was doing my research. But I do love time, and again, just a great earthy drink, a great earthy tea can be made with time.
Yeah.
You could do a cold weather version where it's just your thyme and your hot water, or you could do a warm weather version where it's thyme, you might want to put something like peppermint in it. It depends on what taste, on what essence you're trying to bring forward, you know,
Yes.
and a warm a warm summer morning where the temperature is rising and you're feeling sluggish,
Mhm.
you know, a drink with thyme and peppermint will just like help to wake up your senses. It will be just like that, boom, that quick boost that you need.
Right.
So I do enjoy thyme, and like the earthy herbs, you know, you can mix your thyme with your sage and your bay leaf.
Right.
I enjoy thyme. You're making, let's say you're making jasmine rice, just sprinkle some thyme in there.
I
But
love
it holds its own flavor. It holds its own flavor.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and then finally,
And I just want to add my little bit of info for thyme. It's really great in soup beans. That was my grandmother's rule, was that beans take time because it takes time to cook the beans. So that's how you remember which herbs
yes,
to put in them. Beans take time. I love
yes, yes,
that. So that's my
yes. When you're making things like lentils, you know, like real lentils, like from scratch, that, you know, you've got to soak, then you've got to put on. A lot of times people cook and cooking is on high,
yeah.
when really to bring out the essence of
Hmm.
the herbs, the spices, the foods,
Yeah.
you should be cooking on low,
Yeah.
because everything should come to a natural boil. So it's all about simmering to a cooked state.
Right. You gotta let your flavors marry. They gotta get
That's
married.
right. That's right. They have to court, then
Yeah.
they have to date, then
Yeah.
they have to get engaged,
Yeah.
and then they have to have an engagement party,
Right.
then they have to get married before the meal can be served.
Right. Right. Who knew all this drama was playing out in our cooking?
Well, you know, that's another way that you can be mindful in your daily actions, is taking joy and enjoy in wondering what your spices and herbs are doing when you throw them in the pot. You
Yeah.
know, oh look, there goes the rosemary marinating right now,
Yeah.
you know, floating around looking
Are they
for a
getting
friend.
along or are they fighting?
Right, right. Turmeric,
Mm, I love
our
turmeric.
gingery looking plant, because it's from the ginger family. Yet when you slice it, it's this bright, bright, bright orangey color. And it's curcumin. I believe that's how you say the word, or
Curcumin.
curcumin. No, curcumin. There you go.
Curcumin. Yeah. Curcumin.
Curcumin.
Mm-hmm.
Curcumin. There
Yes.
you go. Curcumin.
Yes.
It gets its color from curcumin.
Yeah.
That's the active component, but this is also an anti-inflammatory. It's said to improve your memory. It can protect your body from free radicals by neutralizing them within the body. It can lower heart disease. And this is where it said that it was tested and helps with depression, because it lowers the symptoms by increasing your natural serotonin levels. So
Uh-huh.
it was tested on people who were on prescribed medication, a specific brand. Yeah, but turmeric it's a very powerful ingredient. You know, on its own, you see the powdered version, you put it in your mouth, it really tastes like nothing. But
Yeah.
when you use turmeric in your cooking and then you stop using it, you miss the absence of it.
Right.
And there is so much that it is doing in your body, you
Mhm.
know, and not only can it do stuff in your body, it does stuff externally. It can be used to create an ointment that you can apply topically. So you've got a scrape, you
Yeah.
know, or something, some turmeric with some honey,
Where did I put that?
and you just, you know, you just put
I actually
that
have a bottle of turmeric oil that's to be used topically for like wounds and stuff. I thought it was sitting right here because I just
see?
used it on my daughter yesterday, but I don't see it. I was going to show it to everybody. But yeah, it's great for that. It's also anti-spasmatic, whether that's in your digestive system internally or in your muscles themselves. Because I take it, and it's an anti-inflammatory. Because I take it to help me deal with my rheumatoid arthritis, because you have muscle spasms and muscle knots and different things like that, and inflammation, you know. And I've had rheumatoid arthritis my entire life, but I take turmeric, 1 capsule of turmeric every day. Plus I put it in all kinds of food. And I rarely have any problems from that. So it's really great for that too. And also the word tumor that's in it is a telltale sign for other things that it's good for too, because it busts up tumors. It doesn't care if they're benign or malignant.
That's right.
Tumor is a tumor. If you have one, turmeric will bust it up.
It is, it's definitely something that's used very widely as part of medicine when treating women with uterine fibroids.
Yes.
It's used as part of natural medicine.
Right. And cysts on their ovaries. Yeah.
Cysts on the ovaries. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are scientific studies that prove that it works for those things too.
It certainly does. And I think that one of the great things that I would really like to share with people is that every single one of these herbs and plant and fruit that, you know, I mentioned today could actually be used at the same time. So you just woke up in the morning and you're just not feeling right. You're not sure what's going on, but you're just not feeling right. Get a pot, put some water, put it on low, and throw a little bit of all of this in, with the exception of the honey. The honey can come at the end. You put in the bay leaf, mush up some garlic. If you don't want to chew the garlic, crush it, throw it in, slice some lemons, slice some red onions, let the rings just dive and come up for air in the water, some sage, some sea salt, some thyme, some turmeric, cover it, let it do its thing. When it comes to a natural boil, stir, put some in a cup, taste, and decide if you want to add honey or if you want to drink it that way. Remember, this is herbal remedies. So you're not going to have your cherry flavored cough syrup. It's going to taste like the earth. Yeah. It's going to taste like nature because it is the gift of nature.
Right. Absolutely. And on that note, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show the list of stuff I have on cinnamon as soon as I figure out where it went. I hate it when I can't see past my little Zoom thingy. There it is. That's the gelatin. Here's the cinnamon.
Yes.
So I'm just going to let that show on the screen and they can read that, because if I actually said those things out loud, I might get flagged, you know, for my claims. But cinnamon is very underestimated and under respected for all of its amazingly powerful properties and what it can do for our body. And in the spiritual aspect of it, my Native American grandfather, back to him again, used to always tell me to keep a stick of cinnamon by my bed or in my jewelry box or in my purse or wherever, just somewhere that's personal to me, and that I would always be protected from negative spirits. And it seems to work pretty darn good. So from the spiritual aspects, you know, cinnamon is very powerful and potent as well. So I'm going to scroll down just a little bit further now so that you could, everyone viewing this can see a little bit more of it. And look over that. And the one about using it in your house plants, in the soil of your house plants and in your garden to keep the mold and the fungus out of your dirt, your soil, that really works.
Yes,
very well.
Yes, I did not know that at all. That is really, really great to see.
Yeah. I mean, it really does keep the mold and the mildew out of your soil, your dirt. It's amazing because it's a natural fungicide, right? And it's
the
also
other
current from little pests that want to get into your garden too, because of its pungent smell, much like the citronella is for us. Yeah. And real quick, I just want to show everybody about gelatin too. And again, these are on the website. Francis's list is in the forum, and my two things are over in on the blog area. But well, maybe I need to just read through this real fast. Or just go ahead and talk. Go ahead and say what you were saying, and I'll just let them read through it if they want to. I'll just leave it on the screen.
I just another use, spiritual use for cinnamon, in addition to protection, is that it's used in a lot of attraction rituals. So it's good for attracting.
Oh yeah,
personal attraction. Yeah.
Meaning what exactly? Explain that a little better.
So if you were doing manifestation work and using candles, you would want to use, it would incorporate some sort of cinnamon something, whether you might have cinnamon incense burning, or whether you might have a stick of cinnamon that is part of your ritual. But there are spiritualists that incorporate it in a lot of work that has to do with personal prosperity and wealth. It's an attraction.
Interesting. I love that. I didn't know that. That's a good one to know.
It's amazing the things that one finds out. Just like I didn't know that you could keep the cinnamon by your bedside.
Yeah.
You know, or in your purse. So people are going to have a smorgasbord. You're going to have a kitchen. You're going to have a pantry in your bedroom because now you got your red onion, you got your garlic.
Right. Better have a nice serving tray or something to keep all that stuff on. Yeah. But yeah, it's so amazing how there's so many simple things right there in our own kitchen cabinets that we take for granted that can actually help us to improve our overall health and well-being in so many beautiful, really vitally important ways. That's not something to see.
And they were there before everything else.
Yeah, all along.
They were there. Yeah, they were there when our parents were there. when our parents were there. They were there long before the age of refrigeration,
Right.
before the age of RX numbers. These
Mhm.
tools, these gifts were there. So we
Yes.
can, as we learn more about them, we can figure out how to bring them into our lives and incorporate them so that we can supplement the better aspects of ourselves and, keep at bay the things that we don't want to go on.
Right.
As with all things, if you've been told that you have an allergy to something, then you need to go and test it out. With all things, use your due diligence. But
Right.
this is the way that our forefathers and our foremothers,
Yes.
they lived off nature. They lived off the land, what the land provided.
I did. And I'm glad that you brought that up to test it out, because for me, like, I'm not really allergic to anything. Pretty much, like, I don't think there's anything in this world that I've ever come across that I'm truly like allergic to, right? I might have a reaction to something once in a while, but it's not like habitual, right? It's not like a condition. However, with that being said, all of the plants that are of the wort family, W-O-R-T, wort, like mother's wort, St. John's, etc. I can't take them. My body freaks out. My body does not want them. So, don't discount herbs in a disrespectful way and think that, it's just a plant, it can't hurt you. Because, I mean, come on, common sense says that plants can hurt us. Poison ivy is not fun to be around. So, and that's a plant, right? But there are actually medicinal uses for poison ivy and sumac, right? But you got to know what you're doing. Don't be stupid about stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
you have to know how to extract the properties.
Yeah, like, do your research and truly respect things. Beets are another perfect example. All these beet supplements that are on the market now, and beet juices and beet powders that you can put in your foods or your smoothies or yada, yada, yada. But listen, I'm here to tell you, not everybody should have that much beets. And I'm one of those people. I have naturally low blood pressure, low blood sugar, right? And so beets are not a good thing for me. I mean, I can eat them occasionally, but to like take a supplement every single day, my blood pressure plummeted because of me taking the little powdered extract that you can put in your drinks and your smoothies. I was taking it every single day for a week. Next thing you know, my blood pressure is flatlining. And I'm like, what is going on with me? I mean, I'm literally up against the wall, feet in the air, trying to, and then I get thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute. I've been taking that Beets. That's the difference in what I've been doing lately. And I, ate some peanut butter to raise my blood sugar and my blood pressure back up, and got me going, and I was okay. But, who knows what could have really happened if I would have continued to take the Beets, not thinking that they could have been the culprit. And who would have thought something as simple as the innocent little red vegetable called a beet could do that? But it really can. So people need to seriously respect foods and spices and all of the plant family. Truly respect them. Truly do your research, and don't take things without checking to see how it's going to interact with you, how it might interact with your medications that you're taking. There are things that you can take that are plants and spices to reduce the effects of diabetes. But if you're taking insulin at the same time, it may drastically lower your blood sugar to a very dangerous level. So be smart. Exactly. Everybody needs to be smart about what they're doing and truly respect this herbal and plant family that is God's medicine cabinet. Truly give it the respect and appreciation it deserves.
Exactly. I mean, and also remember too that as you incorporate more and more of the natural version of the plants, the spices, the herbs and fruits, your own body chemistry will change. So yes, you know, your pee might look a little different
Right.
in terms of color. So those are things to
Or your bowels.
expect.
Yeah.
Your bowels would look different too. Your perspiration might smell different.
Right.
Because really what's happening is that the properties of the herbs, the fruits, the spices, they're all working with your body.
They're cleaning you out,
They're
flushing it out.
cleaning you out.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, so it's really important to um, pay close attention to things, do your due diligence. If you're already, you know, on prescription medication, then the ownership's really on you to ensure that there won't be any interaction. But
Right.
this is, you know, this is the medicine from God. It's from
Right.
the fruits, the
Yes.
seeds of the earth.
And it should be treated with the same
So,
respect as any other medicine.
yes,
If you're going to use it
yes,
to treat yourself, then you should give it the same respect.
yeah, yes.
Absolutely.
And none of this is a one and done deal.
No.
As we know, nature does not have time. So in our human world, we have time. We like to know that, oh, I'll take this and I'll be done in 24 hours. It's not that way. It's a
Yeah.
lifestyle change. It's an incorporation of things into your life. Sometimes you may bring stuff in. Sometimes you may, you know, take stuff out. You may, you know, go on hiatus from something. So it just
Yeah.
depends on what your body needs, but your body will tell you. If it's not too compromised, your body will tell you.
Yeah. And most of them that we would use for like medicinal uses are really rather a subtle energy that you're not going to really see a difference until 2 or 3, maybe 2 or 3 weeks or maybe a month of taking it consistently, you know, ingesting it consistently. It's a subtle energy. It takes time
Yes.
for it to get in there and really do its good work for you.
Yes.
Well, I think
Very
we
true.
probably ran over an hour. I don't see a clock on the screen, but
I think we did.
yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. That's okay. Any final words or closing words you would like to say, or anything we might have missed that you want to go ahead and touch on real fast?
The only closing words that I would have is that nature loves you and is waiting for you to love nature back.
Yeah,
It's, you know, that's it.
that's a good one. I love that. And that's so true. Because nature really is all around us just to be helpers, just to help us. Yeah. It just wants to be appreciated and loved, just like anybody else. I love that.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in and joining us for another edition of Good Vibes News. And we will see you again next week. Be well and be blessed.